Good morning and welcome to another installment of Girls in Tech Label Stories. This morning we are joined by Steph, who is our Communications Director. And welcome, Steph. Hi, Anushka.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much.
So thanks, Nicole. So Stephanie is a Senior Quality Engineer at Sporting Solutions. And today, Stephanie is going to tell us more about her career, how she got there, and she's going to give us some good advice. So Stephanie, tell us more about your career as a Senior Quality Engineer.
Well, actually, when I got to university and I did a general degree, so it was information systems. It wasn't computer science. It was very minimal programming. But to be honest, I didn't really know what being a QA entailed. I had sent my CV off to one of the big development houses in Durban. And they approached me they called me in for an interview as a QA. So apart from the job description, I didn't really know what a QA actually did. But at the time, I did say I wanted to be, I remember telling them that I actually wanted to be a developer later on, because that's pretty much the only thing I really knew about IT jobs. I didn't know much about the roles that were available. But once I got into it, QA is really something that I really became passionate about. And I've been in QA for 10 years now. And it's something that I really love. And it's really, when you really you're passionate about building good quality systems and being able to produce something or put your name on something that you're proud of. And now I've sort of fallen in love with QA. So I started out in manual testing, and then I went to more technical QA, and then I was tech lead on some teams. And now my role is more of I think now I'm sort of embracing the umbrella activities of QA. So I do different things, but I'm leaning more to automation. So I think just leading up to now, what I'm currently doing is like sometimes I'll do a little bit of development in the team, sometimes I do automation, and sometimes I do support, and it's QA as well. So now I think at this point I'm really embracing the many different hats that you can wear as a QA in the team. I think when I first started QA, it was all about the bug count. It was all about breaking software. And I think I even said the reason I love QA is because I like to break software. But my career has progressed to now I actually want to be very involved in building a high quality system. And I think QA itself has sort of evolved where previously QA has been more an activity that you tack on at the end. So the developers do the work and then you pass it on to a QA. And then they're the last people to look at it before it goes to production. And they're sort of the gatekeepers of quality. Whereas now QA has evolved to where QA is everybody's job actually. And the QA is more an ambassador of quality. And they sort of champion quality in the team and like get everybody to think about the system the way they would. And so that for me really is what I actually love about being a QA. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
Very interesting. It's also what comes across quite clearly is that you love what you do. So I'm sure there's never a dull moment in your day. So knowing what you know today, what advice would you give your younger self?
Well, I am a recovering imposter, so I would tell my younger self that you are enough. It doesn't matter. So I think when I was at university, I thought, I believe that I was sort of confined to what I studied. So because I didn't study computer science, I didn't think I could sort of do development later on. Whereas now I can actually do automation, and it's not something that is out of my reach. And so I would tell my younger self that you are enough just as you are, and to just start wherever you are, and then you will figure it out eventually. Because I think everything is figure outable if you sort of spend enough time on it.
I like that, absolutely. It is so often that we put so much unnecessary pressure on ourselves because we often think that, I must get a degree and then I'm enough. But actually, the tech world has evolved so much, and now you don't only just get that deep techie knowledge where you need to get into the development and then get into the zeros and ones. you also get those roles in tech where they low code environments, drag and drop kind of logic, and you are able to participate within the tech industry in doing those things. And as you say, being a QA engineer is not just about development. I mean, when I finished my degree, I also thought, oh, I'm going to be a developer, because you think, I'm studying computer science, I'm going to be a developer. And you very rightly point out, that tech is so much more than just being a developer. It's really about understanding what is the value I'm delivering to the customer and how do I actually bring the best experience for that customer forward. And then as a quality engineer, you now overseeing different kinds of testing throughout the process and not just trying to break the code, as you say. And that is really phenomenal. So well done on getting to, being someone who looks at the overall picture for quality assurance within solutions and not just being the dev or being the manual tester. So in your opinion, what is the biggest factor that has led to your success?
I think not wasting opportunities to learn. I got a lot of my skill. I learned a lot of skills on the job, but I think also using every opportunity you can to learn. It took me a while to learn, but also building an appetite for failure, almost expecting to fail, because I think failure is something, or the fear of failure is something that really stops people from putting their hands up to do something or to try something new. And I think for me, I felt like every time I did something and every time I made a mistake, I learned something from that. And it sort of taught me that it wasn't the end of the world. And I think now, yeah, as I said, it took me a long time to get here, but I am more comfortable with failure. I think now I almost expect to fail at something. So I'm almost pleasantly surprised if I don't fail at something, especially if it's something new. So yeah, so that I think for me that is like just persevering and pushing through something until you get comfortable at it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know we share an interest in encouraging young women to enter into the tech industry, but there's so many different roles available today. It's difficult to even say where to start, especially when the journey can be so unique. But if you were approached by a young girl, say school leaving, and they asked you about what they should study to be what you are doing today, what would you say?
I would say for somebody that doesn't have any knowledge of IT, you could Google something that it's sort of, because you do sort of need to understand have a basic understanding of how the internet works and how websites work, and that kind of sort of the structure and the different parts of it and how they sort of communicate with each other. In terms of QA, I think for somebody that doesn't have any knowledge of it, there is a certification board called ICQB. It's ICQB, and they offer a wide range of certifications. So you could either go a manual testing route, you could go the technical QA, you could go an automation path, and you could also do a test management path. So that's a good way to sort of see the options that you have and sort of figure it out. What the nice thing about the site is that you can actually download the syllabus from the website. So you don't have to pay to go to a course. You can actually download it and you can read up on it. And there's tons of courses and people putting up stuff on YouTube that you can sort of watch if you want more information. But that's a good way for you to learn the syllabus. And if you want to add the certification to your CV, then you'd have to pay for an exam. But I'm always like, I'd prefer somebody, it is better if somebody actually understands it and can sort of demonstrate that they understand it and not just have the certification. So I wouldn't be too phased if you couldn't actually pay for the exam. The going through the syllabus is actually more than enough to actually get a good understanding of it. And then if you wanted to go into automation, there's also because there's a huge range of automation tools and frameworks that you can find on YouTube. There's tons of blogs that people have written up. There's Coursera, which is free courses. There's Udemy. There's also Pluralsight, so Pluralsight is paid for. But yeah, there's tons of resources out there to actually take you through tutorials to be able to build automation and learn how to do it yourself.
Interesting. I mean, automation of solutions is definitely going, testing solutions is definitely going to speed up those development cycles and bring better features to customers. So definitely a worthwhile career to get into. And thanks for sharing those places where people can actually go and find free education and just pay for certificates. But as you say, Steph, the practical experience and knowing the course work is more important than having that certificate, which some people cannot afford. So thanks for highlighting that. So Steph, you are the communications director of Girls in Tech, and Stephanie has earned that position through her enthusiasm to volunteer and just get her hands dirty and get on with it. And I can see how that trait within you of, let me get in there, let me learn something. If I fail, I'm going to learn something anyway. And if I do it well, like, oh, yay, I didn't fail, and get on with it. And thanks for sharing that spirit with us, and thanks for joining Girls in Tech. What excites you most about, Girls in Tech South Africa starting up as a chapter?
I think the main thing really is about putting a spotlight on the different roles that are in tech and the stories. I mean, when I was at university, I didn't know what was out there, and I didn't realize that. And as I said, I felt very confined to my own degree, and I didn't realize that there was so much more that I could have done, or there's so much more opportunities out there. So I think just having having a platform where we're sharing these stories, I think is really good. Where you sort of see women doing roles that you think only guys can do, and you realize that it's not as intimidating as you might have thought it was. The other thing I'm really excited about is really skills. I think you can teach people just about anything as long as people have the right attitude. And some people just don't know what's out there. And I think just creating that exposure on what is out there, and whenever we have, like, we're always sharing on courses that Girls in Tech are doing with our members, and that's really, for me, that is really exciting. It's just sharing that knowledge. And you're just making it's sort of you're sort of pushing up, you're building up, and to break the ceiling. And we're sort of building the path for other girls to come in and do better things than we did. So I think, yeah, for me, that for me is the really exciting part of Girls in Tech.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. So with COVID-19 pandemic, it's unprecedented in the impact that it's had in business and in our personal lives. What challenges and opportunities did you experience in your business environment?
I think at the beginning was a bit difficult. When we first went into lockdown, it was I have to sort of make the best of this time. And I went into like overachieving mode where I was trying to do everything I can. I was one of those people that did the 21Ks in my backyard when we couldn't exercise outside. And it seemed crazy. And it was actually funny because I was running around like a crazy woman in the backyard. But and then I eventually, and I think also, like, I think at work in our team, people were working extra hours, and they were working, because it's hard to sort of separate between your work and your home because it's in the same spot. And it's, I mean, you can read up on articles on how to sort of create a separate space, but I mean, not everybody's fortunate enough to sort of create a separate space to work and then sort of leave that space to enjoy their home. So it was very difficult to separate the two. I think eventually I sort of went into trying to find things that really sort of brought me joy. So I would get more creative, and I would sort of paint and like trying to learn the keyboard and then garden as well. So doing things that sort of really forced you to switch off, and then also exercising as well. What I've found is that it's sort of stepping away and doing something completely different sometimes helps your brain sort of process and figure out stuff in the background, and then you're like, oh wait, I can try this, and then you come back and you're like, okay, I can do this. So I think sort of building that in, and I think the nice thing about us now is that we are able to manage our own day, which is really cool, that we can sort of balance the other activities and then work. So it's not just work. So yeah, I think finding the balance was it took a while to get there, but the balance really makes everything sort of worthwhile. When you're happy at work, you're not so frustrated, and you're really enjoying what you're doing as well.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and I really hope that you finished your 21K. Where was that?
I did. It took me 21 days. I think it took me 21 days.
Oh, that is a 21K. So thanks so much, Steph, for sharing these insights on how people can join the quality engineering career within tech. I think some of the insights you shared are absolutely useful for people to realize you don't have to do a 4-year degree before you can become a quality engineer in tech. There are places you can go to pick up skills and then to get some practical experience and get into tech. And thanks also for pointing out some of the really good initiatives that Girls in Tech South Africa will be running and are offering to our members in terms of skills development and in terms of our Rebel Story series, as well as we're helping people to understand how to get into technical careers. The one piece of advice that you gave us was, not wasting opportunities. And this is something that has led to your success. And I really hope that our members take that to heart and realize that when opportunities come your way, grab it with both hands and make the most of it. So thanks so much for sharing your story with us. Nicole, thanks so much for joining us today for this interview.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.